Welcome back. My name's Guy, and here it is, a shaker table in walnut. Classic, iconic, beautiful, simple, easy to make. Just about every woodworker in his or her career have made one of these tables, or budding woodworkers want to make one. And I'm going to show you how. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I select the lumber for it, how I dimension the lumber, how I do the joinery, and get it ready for the final preparation for the finish. So stick around, and I hope you enjoy it. I've already got my lumber milled down to the thickness I want. In this case, it's going to be 7/8 of an inch thick. Now, tabletop is going to be 20.5 square. So these are the two pieces from the table for the tabletop. And this one's 23. This one's 46. So I'm just going to cut this right down the middle for now. Now this piece here is going to be the side aprons, and I need 4 pieces 16 inches long for it. First thing I need to do is I need to cut this split off the corner here. Let's cut them, rough cut them at 17 to begin with. My daughter asked that this table will be 24 inches tall, which I'm not going to be able to do, but it's going to be pretty darn close. This piece right here that I want to get 2 legs out of is almost 46 inches. So let's make a mark here at 23. If it's a 1/4 inch under, she won't notice. If she watches this video, she might, but then again, nobody in my family ever watches my videos, so I'm not going to worry about it. I've got a little bit more wiggle room here, so I'm going to cut this to 24. And then 48. Well, I'm ready to start the glue up. I've got my pipe clamps here, and I've also put some blue tape down on the seams where the bars will be hitting the wood. These pipe clamps really make a mess if glue gets on them. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to spread some glue on this first one here, and then a little bit on the mating joint. Set this down like this. I'm just going to rub these two back and forth together a little bit, and the suction will develop. I just always put a line here like this. This is where the joinery is going to be going for the table. Well, I'm getting ready to mark out the joinery for how the rail attaches to the leg. One thing I do know is that I want a 1/8 inch reveal right here, so I've got a nice little shadow line. So all I'm going to do is make a mark 1/8 of an inch in. I'm going to be using dowels, and I'm going to be using this doweling jig. Now, the thing is, this centers on this board, which is fine. I know this board is 7/8 of an inch thick. So how do I get this centered on here when this jig will only center on a board? If I clamp that down, it's going to put the center way over here somewhere, and I don't want that. So I know that, again, I know this board is 7/8 of an inch thick, and the center of it would be 7/16. So I'm just going to take my ruler, and I know where I want that center line to be. Now what I can do is I can take my centering jig, or my doweling jig, and mark the center of this. It's about right there. And if I take this and butt this up against this one side here, and move it over, and just fiddle with these measurements until that lines up about where it needs to be, then I can measure the distance from the board or the leg to the inside right here which is about 5/16. So I know if I create a 5/16 inch shim and put it in here, it's going to put the center line of these holes right where I want it. Well, now that I've got that shim cut, which is 5/16 of an inch, I know I'm going to be drilling holes here, and this is my outside face. So I'm going to take this shim, put it up against here. I'm going to put this on here, keeping this side flush up against here, and start closing this, and you'll see this block start to move towards that line I made before. And when I tighten that shim down, you can see that it's about centered right there, which will give me an approximate 1/8 inch reveal here. So I've got one of the legs here, and I know I need to be, well, it's about right there. And I know this is the side that's getting the dowel, so I'm going to flip it this way, so I'm looking at this face. Now I know my board is 3 1/8 inches wide. I want to come in about 1 inch from each edge of the board. So I've got two combination squares set up, one set at 1 inch and one set at 2 1/8. A reference off the top, make a line there, reference off the top here, and make a line here. So that's going to come in 1 inch from each side. So I've got the holes drilled in both the skirt and the legs, and I've got some dowels here. These dowels have slots in them because if you attempt to put a dowel in there, even without glue, you are not going to get it out. You're going to have a bad day. So I'm just going to put these in here. That just helps relieve some of the pressure so they can come out again. So I'll put those in there. I'm going to let them bottom out. All right, so I'm nice and flush here. I wonder what that reveal is. It's a little bit better than 1/8 of an inch, but I'm fine with that. Here's a piece dry fit together with some of those slotted dowels. It took me probably, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, if that, to drill all the holes in here and dry assemble it. So it's a fairly quick method, and it's pretty strong once you get glue in there. And I use real dowels that aren't, slotted like that. So I'm going to disassemble it, and then I'm going to mark on which faces get the tapers on the legs. Well, basically, the sides that get tapered are the ones that have the joinery in them, or the mortises, or dominoes, or in this case, dowels. So I'm going to go this way. This is the face of it. Now I know this piece is 1.5 inches thick, and I know my rails are 3 1/8 inch wide right here. I don't want that taper to start right below there because I need to clean these up, clean off the machine marks and such. So just an arbitrary number, let's say 3 1/2 inches. And that'll give me enough room for a little wiggle when I go to start getting rid of the mill mark. So we'll just mark that right there like that. I only need to mark one of these, by the way. So I've got that right there. Now on the end here, these are 1.5 inches wide. So I think I'm just going to make them 1 1/4 inches and see how that looks. See if I'm getting enough angle on there. Oh, it's pretty shallow. I think I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I go 1 1/8 inches. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And strike a line on that. Well, this is my tapering jig. It's kind of nice because it's got this beam that locks it, slides real nice up against my fence. It's very easy to adjust for tapers, and it's very safe. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my blade up. And I move my fence over till the blade just kisses the fence. I don't want it to touch it. Okay, let me lock it down. Let me lower the blade. So I've got the taper right here runs this way. So I've got the starting point and the stopping point. And all I need to do is take that to the end of this piece. I've got a little nail there and I can just push that in. Then I can take my starting point and just move it over to the edge of the board where it just meets it. And then I can lock it down. And then this goes back here. I've got a couple star knobs. And that way the next one I do will be in the exact same spot. So all the tapers are cut, all the joinery is made, and the rails and the legs. The next step in this is to clean up all the mill marks. Well, that's it for now. Next time we'll work on the surface prep of the piece. We'll do the glue up, we'll do the finishing, and then we'll attach the top to the table. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.